If you've ever walked the Buckeye Trail as it winds around Tecumseh Lake in Shawnee, Ohio, you know there's something different about this place. The air feels heavier, like it's carrying the memory of 1,000 stories. The forest seems older. The hills feel carved not just by nature, but by people. People who lived hard lives, dug deep into the earth, and left behind a landscape that would eventually become one of the most peaceful hiking spots in the state. What looks like a quiet lake today was once the center of a very different world, and the trail that circles it is more than just a path through the woods. It's a path through time. Long before Shawnee was a coal town, before the mines, before the railroad, this land belonged to the Shawnee tribe. They moved through these hills as hunters and gatherers, using the region's salt licks and dense forests long before any European settlement arrived. The hills around what is now Tecumseh Lake were rich in wildlife and hardwoods, and the land was untouched for centuries. Everything changed in the late 1800s when coal was discovered in the region. That discovery transformed Shawnee almost overnight. By the late 19th century, Shawnee had become one of the most important coal boom towns in eastern Appalachia. It was so lively that people called it the entertainment capital of eastern Appalachia, thanks in part to the Tecumseh Theater, a massive opera house-style venue that still stands today as a reminder of the town's former glory. Coal was the engine that powered everything. Thousands of miners lived here. Immigrants from across Europe settled in the little cities of Black Diamond's region, bringing their languages, traditions, and labor to the mines. The hills were blasted open, railroads cut through the forest, company stores lined the streets, and the land around what would eventually become Tecumseh Lake was home to one of the many mines that fed Shawnee's booming economy. But coal towns rise fast and fall even faster. By the mid-20th century, the coal seams were thinning. Mines closed, families moved away. Shawnee's population dropped dramatically. What had once been a booming industrial landscape was now a patchwork of abandoned mines, scarred hillsides, and quiet streets. The site where Tecumseh Lake sits today was once the location of the XX mine, one of the many mines that operated in the region. When the mine shut down, the land sat unused, like so many other former industrial sites in the area. But in the early 1950s, something unexpected happened. Two religious leaders, Pastor William Schuster and Father Michael Wellnitz, came together with a shared vision. They wanted to create a project that would unite Shawnee's Protestant and Catholic communities, which had historically been divided. Their idea was simple but powerful. Build a lake that could serve as both a drinking water source and a recreational space for the town. In 1954, Tecumseh Lake was created. The old railroad bed was repurposed into a berm-style dam, and the former mining site was transformed into a peaceful body of water surrounded by forest. It was one of the first steps in Shawnee's long journey from coal town to trail town. While Shawnee was reinventing itself locally, something else was happening across the state. Something that would eventually connect this little lake to a 1,400-mile loop. In 1958, a wildlife biologist named Merrill C. Gilfillan published a column in the Columbus Dispatch under the pen name Perry Cole. In it, he proposed a bold idea, a long-distance hiking trail stretching from Cincinnati to Lake Erie. At the time, it was just that, an idea, but it resonated with people. Volunteers stepped up, landowners offered access, and in 1959, the Buckeye Trail Association was officially founded. The first 35 miles were built in Hocking County, not far from Shawnee. From there, the trail grew and grew until it eventually became the longest loop hiking trail in the United States, more than 1,400 miles, winding through forests, towns, farmland, and historic sites. Eventually, it made its way to Shawnee. And hey, if you're liking the video so far, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button for more content. It really helps the channel grow and lets me keep telling stories like this. After the coal era ended, the land around Shawnee didn't immediately bounce back. There were sinkholes, coal piles, and barren hillsides. But over time, the U.S. Forest Service acquired much of the land, including the area around Tecumseh Lake. What had once been an industrial site slowly transformed into forest again. Trees returned, wildlife returned, and the land became part of the Wayne National Forest, which today surrounds Shawnee with thousands of acres of protected wilderness. The Tecumseh Lake Loop Trail, just half a mile long, became a gateway to something bigger. Access to the Buckeye Trail and the Wood Thrush Loop Trail. The lake that had once been a symbol of community unity was now becoming a hub for outdoor recreation. In 2018, Shawnee was officially designated a Buckeye Trail trail town. This wasn't just a title. It was a recognition of the town's deep connection to the trail and its commitment to outdoor recreation, conservation, and heritage tourism. Shawnee is also home to the Buckeye Trail Association headquarters. That means the very organization responsible for maintaining the entire 1,400-mile trail is based right here in a former coal town that reinvented itself through nature. Today, hikers can walk from Tecumseh Lake straight onto the Buckeye Trail, following the iconic blue blazes through the Wayne National Forest. The trail here is known for its quiet beauty, rolling hills, dense hardwoods, and the occasional reminder of the region's mining past. You might see an old coal pile, or a reclaimed hillside, or a sinkhole formed decades ago. The land remembers. If you start your hike at Tecumseh Lake, you'll notice how the trail blends natural beauty with subtle hints of history. The lake itself is calm, framed by trees that reflect on the water in the early morning. Kayakers glide across the surface, birdwatchers gather near the shoreline, and hikers begin their journey on the compact gravel loop that circles the lake. From there, the Buckeye Trail branches off, leading you deeper into the forest. The Wayne National Forest is full of life, spring flowers pushing through leaf litter, wood thrushes calling from the canopy, and deer moving quietly through the underbrush. But if you know what to look for, you'll also see the marks of the past. Old mining cuts, reclaimed land, railroad grades, and hills shaped by decades of extraction. The Tecumseh Lake Interpretive Trail even includes signs explaining how the area evolved from an industrial site to a natural one. It's a reminder that nature can heal, but it doesn't forget. It isn't just a hiking path. It's a cultural and historical connector. In the little cities of Black Diamond's region, which includes Shawnee, the trail helps tell the story of coal mining, labor movements, immigration, and community resilience. Researchers from the Ohio Field School have documented how the Buckeye Trail Association contributes to preserving and interpreting this history. The trail brings hikers into towns they might never otherwise visit. It supports local businesses. It encourages conservation. And it helps communities like Shawnee share their stories with the world. In many ways, the Buckeye Trail is the perfect symbol for this region, a loop that keeps going, with no true beginning or end. A trail that winds through the past while pointing toward the future.